everyone, welcome back to yoga. My name is Ashley and today we are going to be working towards a posture called Uttana Mayurasana. Uttana Mayurasana is peacock pose and it's one of the very first original yoga postures ever, making it one of the oldest yoga postures today. This posture is an arm balance and it is a lot different than a lot of the arm balances that we normally do, meaning we do a lot of arm balances with our fingers facing forward, but for this one, our hands are backwards. So before we get started, I just want to read you a little bit of a description that BKS Iyengar writes in his book, Light on Yoga. This asana tones up the abdominal portion of the body wonderfully. Due to the pressure of the elbows against the abdominal aorta, blood circulates properly in the abdominal organs. This improves digestive power, cures ailments of the stomach and spleen, and prevents the accumulation of toxins due to faulty eating habits. Persons suffering from diabetes will find the pose beneficial. As a peacock destroys snakes, this asana kills toxins in the body. It also strengthens the forearms, wrists, and elbows. The great thing about this yoga practice is that you never really have to go all the way to the full pose. You're always allowed to get off on bus stops along the way. So always feel free to do as much as you can, back out whenever necessary, go forward whenever necessary, and do what you need to do to make this practice safer and more accessible for you. Let's go ahead and practice. Feel free to close your eyes or gaze at a point out in front of you and connect to your natural breath. Just taking this time to check in with yourself. How are you feeling emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually? Maybe this is the one time in your day where you can actually really pay attention to yourself, to acknowledge yourself just as you are here and now. Take a full breath in, and as you exhale, let it out with a sigh. Breathe naturally. Gently open your eyes. Let's go ahead and begin in downward facing dog. Hands at the front of your mat, index fingers pointing straight ahead. Grip the floor with all 10 fingertips and push the inner edges of your hands down. Bring your knees back a few inches behind your hips, curl your toes under, lift your knees up. Then do or don't straighten your legs on your first down dog. I really like to keep my knees bent for the first several breaths, really working, pushing feet down and back and also down and apart, and that'll really turn on the outer glute muscles. Feel free to stay like this or work your legs towards straight, maybe taking heels all the way down or toward the floor. Pay attention here to your rib cage, moving your ribs back toward your spine, preventing them from sinking into the floor. Couple more breaths here. Really just feeling into your body, how it's feeling in this very first posture. Look forward between your hands. Step your right foot outside your right hand for a dog lunge. Spin your back heel to the floor. Keep the weight in your feet as you walk your hands a little bit more forward and to the left. Move your hips slightly to the left so that your hips are more in line with your knees rather than to the right of them. Push strongly through your feet to get more stretch and length in your torso. Walk your hands back, switch sides, step right foot back, left foot outside left hand, back heel to the floor. Walk your hands forward and to the right. Keep the weight in your feet. Lengthen your torso out in front of you. And just breathe here, swing your hips slightly to the right. Push even weight through your feet. Walk your hands back, come back to downward dog. Bring your feet together and shift forward into plank pose, top of a push-up. Push your hands down apart and toward your feet. Plank is really important today for helping to set yourself up for Mayurasana later. Round your lower, middle, and upper back. Really try to hollow out your belly here. Turn on your abdominal core muscles. Keep your chest lifting and try to do an upper back bend here. Downward facing dog, feet apart. We're going to do 3 of those, like a drill. Bring your feet together. Shift forward, round your spine as you come forward, but lift your chest, do an upper back bend. Keep your chin slightly lifting. Push hands down, apart, and toward your feet. Keep your abdomen engaged. Don't hold your breath. Push back, down dog, feet apart. Last one, just like that, feet together. Shift forward, plank pose, round your spine. Hold here, push hands down, apart, toward your feet. Lift through your sternum, upper back bend as you round the rest of your spine. Try to make it like you're pushing more weight into your hands, so you're trying to make your feet lighter. Now, Chaturanga Dandasana, point elbows back, lower halfway down, then come all the way to the floor. Great, from here, turn your hands backwards and take your wrists about level with your hip bones. Then squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other, lift your chin out in front of you, then move your shoulders back again and just lift up through your sternum. Put very little weight in your hands. So you're not really using your hands so much to lift up. They're just getting a nice big wrist stretch here. Giving yourself an upper back bend. Lift the base of your skull away from your spine. Press your skull toward the wall behind you. Keep your shoulders lifting, moving back. And rest. Feel free to take your forehead to your arms. Lift your chin, interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other, then work your arms toward straight. Maybe lift your knuckles away from your hips. Push down through your hips, then lift your torso as high up as you can. And squeeze your ankles in, stay working here, or lift your legs off the floor. Rotate your inner thighs up, outer hips down, tighten your glutes, press your tailbone down, lift your sternum, reach forward. The upper back bend is super important here to help your posture later on. And rest, forehead on your forearms or one side of your face down. Lift your chin. Place your hands next to your torso. Regular cobra pose, push your hands down and back. Push hips down and forward. Move your ribs back and lift your sternum up. Move your shoulders back, curl back and lift up. You don't have to lift up as high as I am, but you have the opportunity to, even if you can, straighten your arms. Otherwise, keep your elbows bent, shoulders back, shoulders away from your ears. Chaturanga Dandasana. Push up plank, and then press back down dog. All right, take your knees down to the floor. Southpaw tiger, knees directly underneath your hips. Turn your fingers out, or you can go towards all the way straight back toward your knees. So your wrists point forward, thumbs point out. Flare your fingers just like you would all the time with your hands on the floor. From here, walk your knees back just a few more inches for more stretch. If that's too much, walk your knees forward until it's not too much. Just hang out here for a couple of breaths. Notice if your rib cage is dumping toward the floor, and then move your ribs back, engage your arms, push your hands down, move your shoulders back, just like you would anytime you're on your hands in any posture. Turn your hands back around. Take your right leg straight back behind you, parallel to the floor for tiger. Opposite arm to leg. Take left arm out in front of you, parallel to the floor, palm pointing to the right. Squeeze your arm and leg toward each other. Continue moving your rib cage back and your tailbone forward. And breathe here. Keep your right leg lifted. Lower your left hand a little to the left of your shoulder. Take your right arm out in front of you, and then point your right palm toward the wall at your left. Do your best to keep your right outer hip square to the floor, ribs square to the floor, ribs moving back. Keep your right leg lifted, lower your right hand, pull your right knee and nose toward each other. Try to keep your right toes off the floor for cat forehead to knee. Kick your right leg straight back, then lower your right foot to the floor. Take your left leg straight back behind you, parallel to the floor. Turn your inner left thigh up, outer hip down. Move your ribs back, tailbone forward. Take your right arm out in front of you. Reach, arm forward, leg back, palm toward the midline, inner thigh toward the midline. Don't hold your breath. Keep your leg lifted, lower your right hand slightly to the right. Lean into your right hand, right knee. Keep your left hip square to the floor. Lift your left arm straight out in front of you. Point your palm to the right. Breathe here. Take your hand to the floor, round your back, knee to nose, hold. Keep your toes lifting as much off the floor as you can. Kick straight back. Take your foot, knee to the floor. All right, turn your fingers back around toward your knees, just like you did before. For Southpaw Tiger, take your right leg straight up behind you. Point your toes, flare your toes. Turn your knee straight down, hip straight down, move your ribs back. Keeping all of this, swing your right leg to the left and tap your toes to the floor. It's like a crunch on the left side. Lift back up. Take your right knee to your right armpit. Take your right leg back. Swing your right knee to the left. Tap your foot on the floor. Come back up. Knee to right armpit. Reach your right leg back. Foot to the floor to the left. Come back up. Knee to right armpit. We're going to do 2 more, 5 on each side. Take your right leg back. Toes to the left. Come back up. Knee to the right. Reach back. Reach to the left. Come back up. Right knee to your right shoulder. Reach your right leg back. Lower your knee. Curl your toes under. Sit back on your heels. Give your arms a break. Do some wrist rolls if that feels comfortable for you. It's some hard work. All right, come back to your hands and knees. We're going to do all that on the second side. Turn your fingers around, facing your knees. Now from here, if your wrists are totally, like if they had enough, you can keep your hands facing forward, totally fine. Take your left leg straight back. Hold. Move your ribs back, tailbone forward. Breathe here. Don't hold your breath the entire time. Toes to the right. Crunch. Come back up. Left knee to left armpit. That's 1. Reach back. Toes to the right. Come back up. 2. Knee to your armpit. Come back up. Toes to the right. Back up. Knee to the left. That's 3. Reach back. Toes to the right. Back up. Knee to the left armpit. That's 4. 1 more. Reach back. Toes to the right. Come back up. Knee to your armpit. Reach back. And lower your foot to the floor. All right, this time curl your toes under. Turn your hands around. And then slide your knees back toward your toes and squeeze your knees and ankles toward each other. Sit up on your hips. Now from here, interlace fingers. Clamp your fingers closed. Pull your elbows wide for Thunderbolt, arms extended. Place backs of hands on top of your head, squeeze shoulder blades on your back. Keep moving ribs back as you push your palms like you're pushing against a 10-ton weight all the way up toward the ceiling. And breathe here. Release your hands to the floor. Take the tops of your feet back to the floor, squeeze knees and ankles in, have a seat. Interlace fingers behind you, move your shoulder blades toward each other, then work your arms toward straight. Keep moving ribs back, round your spine, maybe just look at your knees, maybe come all the way to forehead to knees, or you can go forehead to the floor for less rounding. I really want you to work on rounding the spine though. So if usually you come down forehead to the floor to prevent yourself from doing more of a rounded back, instead, maybe today come up to where you're halfway down so you can still do the rounded spine variation, toning your abdomen, getting as much of a curl in your back as possible. And breathe here. Next inhale, slowly come back up. Release your hands, shake your arms out, come into downward facing dog. Step or jump to the front of your mat. Bend your knees, Uttanasana. Set your weight back toward your heels. Squeeze knees and ankles in, hands on hips. Lift your torso. You can totally hang out here or reach your arms all the way up. Reach through your fingertips as you sit through your hips. Move ribs back, tailbone forward. Lift through your sternum. Do an upper back bend here. Don't hold your breath. Inhale, stand up. Lower your arms by your side. All right, turn and face toward the long edge of your mat. And then from here, bring fingertips in front of your chest, bend your knees, step or jump, your feet wide, arms wide. Now from here, turn your right toes out, straighten and strengthen both of your legs, lean hips to the left, torso to the right for Uttana Trikonasana. Take right hand to shin, ankle, floor, or a block outside your right leg, arm under shoulder. Tone and turn your abdomen toward the ceiling as you reach your legs longer. Maybe look toward your fingertips. Side angle pose, bend your right knee above your ankle, extend your left arm beyond your ear. Feel free to prop your right forearm on your thigh or keep right hand outside your right foot. Push through your back leg to extend through your left arm. And breathe. Inhale, stand up. Turn right toes in, turn left toes out, straighten and strengthen your legs, tone thighs, lift kneecaps, lean hips to the right, torso to the left. Take left hand to shin, ankle, or the floor. Extend up through your right fingertips. Tone and turn your abdomen to the right. Lift through your sternum, do that upper back bend, and breathe here. Maybe gaze past your fingers. Keep your head in line with your spine rather than dropping your ear to your shoulder. Side angle, bend your left knee. Feel free to prop forearm onto thigh, left hand outside left foot, and then extend your right arm beyond your ear. Widen left knee to the left. Turn your torso toward the ceiling. Inhale, stand up. Turn your toes in. Bring fingertips in front of your chest, bend your knees, step or jump feet together. Arms by your side, mountain pose, Tadasana. Bring fingertips in front of your chest, bend your knees, step or jump, your feet wide, arms wide. Wide-legged stance. Turn your right toes out like last time. This time bend your right knee for Virabhadrasana 2. Widen right knee to the right. Look beyond your right fingertips. Keep your chin level with the floor. Make sure your torso is in line with your hips rather than leaning forward or backward. And just hang out here, push your arms longer, act as though you're pushing your palms into the top of a table to help engage your arms more. Straighten your right leg, turn right toes in, left toes out. Warrior 2, second side, bend your left knee, gaze beyond your left fingertips. Widen left knee to the left, push your right thigh toward the wall behind you, and breathe here. Straighten your left leg, turn your toes in, fingertips in front of your heart, bend your knees, step or jump, feet together, arms by your side, mountain pose. Turn and face the front of your mat. Bend your knees, place fingertips on the floor outside your feet. Step your left leg back a lot, then move your back heel vertical above your toe mounds. You'll feel that stretch in the bottom of your foot. Stay working here, or place hands on hips. Lift your torso for Virabhadrasana 1 lunge variation. Move right hip back, left hip forward. Do your best to lift your back thigh up, then reach your arms over your head. Extend your fingertips taller, reach longer through your spine, and breathe here. Keep your ribs moving back, tailbone moving forward. From here, take your hands to the floor. Step your left foot in 1 step and bring your hands forward in front of you under your shoulders. Lean your weight into your right foot, then take your left leg to a hover back behind you so it's parallel to the floor. Flare your toes. Then tone your right thigh, maybe straighten your leg. If straight leg is not good for you today, don't straighten it, just keep it bent. Lengthen your spine, look forward, try to make as flat of a back as possible. Now do an upper back back bend while pulling your rib cage back. Then maybe join your palms in front of your heart. Take your torso and your leg level with each other. Stay here or reach your arms forward as you shift your weight slightly back in your foot toward your heel. Warrior 3. Lower your hands. Step your back foot forward. Lengthen your spine. Bend your knees. Step your right foot back, heel vertical. Lift your torso, hands on hips first. Stay working here or lift your arms straight up. Press tailbone forward, ribs back. Lift your back thigh. Reach your torso longer as you sit your hips lower. Lower your hands. Step your back foot in a step. Hands forward under your shoulders. Feel free to straighten or keep your left knee bent. Lean forward, lift your right leg parallel to the floor, toes, kneecap pointing straight down. Tone your abdomen, lift through your sternum, lift through your chest. Do an upper back back bend, but move your rib cage back. Tone your abdomen. Stay working here, or hands in front of heart, Anjali Mudra. Or reach your arms forward slowly as you shift your weight slightly back towards your heel. And breathe here. If you fall, it's totally normal. Like I'm falling right now. I'm not perfect. It's great. It's part of the process. And lower down. Step your right foot forward, lengthen your spine, then do a forward fold, Uttanasana, knees bent or straight. Feel free to separate your feet and maybe just hang between your legs, maybe grabbing onto your elbows, taking a moment of rest here. Using this as an opportunity to reconnect with your breath if you lost that connection. Maybe shake your head no or yes. You bring your fingertips to the floor, lengthen your spine, walk your feet together, then lower your bottom to the floor. Take your legs straight out in front of you. Take your hands behind you, about 6 inches or so. Turn your fingers out, thumbs forward, flare your fingers, grip the floor with your fingertips. I like to take the heels of my hands just a little bit wider than my shoulders for more support and more stability. Now bend your right knee. This is reverse table. Take your right foot level with your left knee and bend your left knee. Take your left foot level with your right foot. Push hands down and apart and move your shoulders back and lift up through your sternum. Push down through the inner edges of your feet. Lift through the outer edges of your hips to lift your hips off the floor. Keep pushing hands down and apart, hips up. Now lift your chest up, move your shoulders back. Try not to drop your shoulders in toward your chest. Keep your chin slightly lifted so your head is in line with the rest of your spine. Lower your hips, extend your legs forward, shake out your arms, maybe roll your wrists. For this next one, you have the option, not requirement, to turn your fingers facing your hips instead of facing out. If you already know that you do not do well with this position of your wrists, just turn your fingers out again. We're going for straight legs Purvo Uttanasana for this variation. Right now, turn your fingers forward if you're going for it. Take your hands just a little bit wider than your hips. Then squeeze your shoulder blades on your back, elbows bent to start, then lift through your sternum. Then work your arms straight. Now, this is good enough. You might stay here. Or push down through your heels, down through your hands, then move your shoulders back, lift your hips, point your toes, try to touch your toes toward the floor. Grip the floor with your fingertips, keep your head in line with your spine. This is the hardest variation of this pose, to turn your fingers all the way backwards. Lower down, rest, roll your wrists if you need to. Take a moment here, just breathe. All right, cross your ankles, come onto hands and knees again. Come toward the middle or back of your mat so you have room out in front of you for your head. Take the tops of your feet on the floor, squeeze knees and ankles in, have a seat. Now take your hands, this is rabbit pose. You're just gonna take your hands back behind you and cup your thumb and index finger around your heels to start. Then from here, I like to just fold forward like I'm going in a child's pose, keeping hold of my heels with my hands, and then grab the rest of the fingers around the heels. From here, round your spine like a Halloween cat, then take forehead to your knees. Keep moving your shoulders away from the floor, away from your ears. Now from here, whether your head and knees are connected or not, you're gonna lift your hips and place the top of your head or the crown of your head where your forehead, hairline meet onto the floor. So with your hips lifting, you want to make sure you're not putting too much weight in your head. More weight in your shins than your head. Absolutely very important. Move shoulders away from the floor and away from your ears. Pull against your feet with your hands and push against your hands with your feet. And hold. If there's weight in your head, take the weight out. Breathe. Lower your hips. Lift your head, extend your arms out in front of you. Child's pose, you can keep knees together or widen your knees. Totally up to you. Take a moment here. Take your hands to surround your ears, move your shoulders back, lift your chin, and then sit up. Flip onto your bottom. Come towards the middle-ish of your mat, and then bend your knees, pull your thighs and your rib cage toward each other. Do your best to lift your lower back in and up, lift your sternum, move your shoulders back, then lean back just behind your sitting bones, get your feet light, take your shins parallel to the floor. If you can hold your legs here without your hands holding your legs, take your arms out to the sides, palms point in and up. Move shoulders back, lift your sternum, stay here, or straighten your legs, Navasana, boat pose. Or Paripurna, Navasana would be the full Sanskrit name. Hold steady, try not to hold your breath. Take hands behind your head, lower halfway down, toes and eyes level, not shoulders to floor, shoulders hovering above the floor. Breathe. Come back up, lower your feet, slide forward, and then come all the way down onto your back. C2 Bandhasana bridge pose. Walk your shoulders in one at a time toward your spine. Push the back of your head, shoulders and feet down, and lift your hips off the floor. Feel free to stay like this or hold your outer edges of your mat with your hands, then walk your shoulders in one at a time. Keep your chin lifting out of your chest. Keep the back of your neck curving away from the floor. Use your head pushing down to do that. Now from here, you can stay or interlace your fingers under your hips, walk your shoulders in again, shrug your shoulders toward your ears and then back toward the floor, and lift your hips a little higher. Make sure your wrists and knuckles are down on the floor or the outer edges of your pinky knuckle, and breathe here. Release your hands, lower hips. Take your knees together, feet wide, hands wherever comfortable in your torso or by your side. Just take several moments, several breaths to reconnect, regroup. Leg lifts, you have a couple of options. Option one is to wedge your arms underneath the sides of your body so your palms are flat. That'll give your back some support. You can do with bent knees or straight legs. You can go one leg at a time, like so, or both legs at the same time. And then if you know you don't need the back support, all of that, do the same, only you have the option to have your hands interlaced behind your head a little bit off the floor. Move shoulders back, do or don't, lower one or both feet for leg lifts. Totally up to you. Sometimes I like to do one leg at a time, one each, and then I do both legs. Like I go right leg down, lift it back up, left leg down, lift it back up, then both legs down, lift them back up. If you like that, go for it. To make it a little harder, every time you lift one or both of your legs up, lift your hips off the floor for a little bit of a hike action. Don't hold your breath. All right, next time you even it out, lower your feet to the floor, take a moment of rest. Maybe do windshield wipers. You can just let your knees stagger and fall back and forth, side to side. You can either do bridge pose again, or you have the opportunity to come up into Urdhva Dhanurasana, full wheel pose. Place your hands by your ears, walk your shoulders in, and then push the back of your head, shoulders, feet down, and hands down. This might be your back bend, totally fine. You're also getting that big wrist stretch here. Now from here you can stay or push your feet down, lift your hips up, push your hands down, lift your head to flip to the top of your head. All right, this is pretty important too. So you want little weight on your head, more weight in your hands. Move your shoulders back and then up away from the floor. Push your feet down, roll toward your nose, then do or don't, straighten your arms. Rotate your upper inner arms toward your feet, then lift and move your chest forward toward your wrists. Maybe walk your feet in. And breathe here. Slowly come all the way down. Rest, knees together, feet wide, hands wherever comfortable. Roll your wrists a few times here, back and forth in the two different directions. Just giving them a little bit of love. They're doing so much work today. Either rock back to rock forward to sit up or roll to your side to sit up. All right, now for the fun part. Go ahead and come onto your hands and knees, all fours. We're doing the prep first, then we'll come out and then we'll either do the prep again. You can do whatever you want at home. And then maybe you'll have the option to come into the full posture. So let's do this. Go ahead and take your feet like mine. I have my toes curled under, but my knees are wide. That's how I start. Now from here, you can totally just do this work. Or turn your hands around backwards. I like, when I'm doing this, when I haven't done it in a while, like today, I'm going to have my hands about 1.5 inches or 2 inches apart from my pinky edges of my hands. It's much harder with your pinky edges of your hands completely together. You have less of a base to work with when your hands are super close together. That is classical form. Otherwise, if you take your hands just a little bit apart, it gives you a wider base, which makes it a little bit easier to get up if you want to get up. If you take them too wide, then you risk falling inside your hands, so it doesn't really work out. You need it so that your elbows are still gonna be underneath your abdomen. All right, with all that being said, let's go ahead and set that up. Take your hands to the floor at whatever width apart you need. Now, my wrists are about level with my knees here. It doesn't really matter because we're just gonna adjust when we get down. So from here, round your spine like a Halloween cat, then look forward, lift your chin. Bend your elbows and try to tuck your elbows really, really deeply in toward your lowest abdomen. You're aiming about to the navel or just below the navel. All right, now once you've got that situated, pull your knees a little bit more forward again, and then shift forward, lower down onto your head. From here, you are gonna want, if you look at my arm angles slightly backward toward my feet rather than forward or straight up and down. All right, now from here, you can stay and just shift a tiny bit of weight into your crown of your head, but again, not very much. It's just like in rabbit pose here. From here, you can stay, or one at a time, take one leg back, curl your toes under, and then set that hip or torso on that elbow, and then push through your hands so your weight is not in your head, and take your other foot back. Now, push through your hands a lot. Now lift your abdomen up. You will have more weight in your head here. Then round your spine, take your abdomen back down to your elbows. Now take the tops of your feet to the floor. Lift your head. Do or don't. Yeah, move your shoulders back. Keep your chin lifting. Then lower your knees, lower your head. Now, however is best for you, come on out. Sometimes it doesn't look very pretty to exit this pose. And then go ahead and have a seat. Take your fingers, interlace them. Take them behind your head. So your pinky fingers should be just below the base of your skull, right there. Then wrap your other part of your hand around your neck. And then just pull up gently. Lift your chin level with the floor. And just hold here. This is kind of like a cradling action for the head and neck. Sometimes it's a lot on the head to do this posture. It can be a lot on the neck. So if you found that to be true, you can also do this entire thing without even taking your head down. It's just a lot harder. So I'm going to show you that real quick. You can do this with me, or you can just watch. Take hands down to the floor, then lift your hips, round your spine, take your elbows toward your lower navel. Now, instead, since your head's off the floor, instead of sliding your knees forward, you're going to actually walk your hands forward. Okay? Then walk your knees forward a little bit, round your spine. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Keep that rounding of your spine, and without lowering your head, you can take one leg back. And then without lowering your head, you can lift that other knee. And then this is like a backward hand chaturanga. You're gonna pull yourself forward and try to lower your belly down onto your navel. Move shoulders back, lift your chin, and you can hold there. Lower your knees, come out, and roll your wrists. Take a moment. We're doing like this is like the peak part of class here, so it's really intense. All right, now for this last one, you have the option to do or don't. You can do one of the two options that I just showed you, or you have the option to lift your feet. At this point in time, I'm not quite sure if my feet are gonna come off the floor, so whether your feet come off the floor or not, it's still the pose. So you're still doing great and it's still hard work. So let's go ahead and try that now. Go ahead and set up whether you're doing head on the floor to start or head off the floor to start. Get ready. And your preparation might feel and look a little bit different than mine. Mine is just how it works better in my body. So you can walk your knees forward or walk your knees back. You can do rounding back without your head on the floor, or round your back, then put your head on the floor. Do whatever you need to do. Maybe just tune me out and try doing the pose on your own. And then from here, you can stay and then maybe step one foot back. Set that side of your torso on your elbow. Step the other foot back. And then lift both of your sides of your torso off your elbows. Round your spine a lot. Set your torso down on your elbows. Take tops of feet to the floor. If your head's not lifted yet, lift your head. All right, now from here, maybe lean forward, push your hands down and towards your toes. Lift up through your sternum, do an upper back bend. Maybe lift your legs. Yeah, guys, I don't think my feet are gonna come off the floor today, and that's totally fine. I don't do this pose very often. Lower your knees, come out however you come out of the pose. All right, roll your wrists out, take a seat on your mat, and extend your legs out in front of you. Whew, that pose gets me every time. All right, from here, slide your hips forward and lie on your back. Just, if you need to just splat on the floor, take like a mini Shavasana for a moment. And just take a few slow, deep breaths. Maybe continue rolling your wrists if they got aggravated a little bit. Supta Padangusasana, reclined hand to big toes pose. All right, bring your feet together. You can stay with your legs straight or start with your knees bent. I like starting with my knees bent better. Pull your right knee toward your torso. From inside your leg, grab your big toe, first two fingers and thumb. Think of this as therapeutic for the wrist here. So you're gonna round your wrist just a little bit and then maybe work your leg towards straight. Stay working here or extend your left leg toward the floor if your leg was bent. Then push foot into hand into foot, extend your legs longer. Keep your right wrist rounded. Gently open your right leg to the right. Push foot into hand into foot. Kick your left leg towards straight or straighter or longer. Twist, take your leg up. You can either keep holding onto your big toe, but with your opposite hand, you just take the fingers to that part of the big toe that your other fingers were on. So your thumb points toward your heel and your palm points out. Or you can also bend your knee, grab your outer thigh, and then twist your leg over your body to the left. Rotate your outer right hip away from your right shoulder and try to tack your right shoulder back toward the floor. And then lift your leg back up. Lower your right foot. Maybe start with your right knee bent. Pull your left knee toward your chest. Grab your left big toe, first two fingers and thumb. Then round your left wrist a little bit. Right hand to thigh. Maybe extend your left leg straight or go towards straight. Do or don't straighten your right leg along the floor. And just grow your legs longer and resist the push of your leg with the pull of your hand. Just taking some slow, deep breaths here, calming down the nervous system. And gently open your leg to the left. Keep your right toes and kneecap up. Try to tack your right hip back toward the floor. And slowly come back up. You choose whether you just switch the clasps so that your first two fingers and thumb of your right hand wrap around your big toe, or you can grab onto your outer leg, knee bent or straight. Cross your left leg over your body. Try to get your left shoulder down. Tack your left hip away from your shoulder and breathe here. And slowly lift your leg back up. Lower your foot to the floor. Bend both of your knees. Pull your legs toward your outer rib cage. Grab the outer edges of your feet for happy baby. Push feet into hands, hands into feet. Maybe rock side to side. We haven't done too many hip stretches, so let's go ahead and do Sukiran Drasana. Take your feet to the floor, cross your right ankle on top of your left knee, then widen your right knee to the right. Clamp your heel closed and draw your legs toward your torso. Grab left thigh or shin. Use your arms to pull your legs in a little more deeply, and maybe continue this rocking motion more on your right side. Maybe feel your body temperature starting to cool down a little bit more as we cool down in our practice. Release your hands, uncross your ankle, switch sides, left ankle over your right knee. Widen your left knee to the left, clamp your heel toward your hip, and then draw your legs toward your torso. Maybe interlacing fingers around your right thigh or shin. Maybe rocking side to side, more on the left. And then let go of your legs, uncross your ankle. From around the outer edges of your legs, grab outside your legs. You can grab your shins with your hands or grab a wrist, interlace fingers or hold your elbows. Maybe continuing a rocking motion. Then whenever you feel ready, make your way into Shavasana for resting posture. Always feel free to either rest in the traditional form of Shavasana or adjust yourself into any other position that feels most appropriate for your body today. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. do.